James and his colleague Ryan earn the same salary, work the same hours, and both genuinely care about building financial security. 3 years into their careers, they started setting aside the same amount each month, roughly $1,200, with the intention of investing it. Ryan opened a brokerage account, picked a handful of individual stocks he felt good about, and started buying. He felt like someone who had finally figured it out. James did something far less interesting. He followed a specific sequence, a precise order in which each dollar moved through a series of accounts and went back to his life without thinking about it much at all. 5 years later, James is approximately $35,000 ahead of Ryan. Not because he picked better investments, not because the market treated him differently, because he put the same dollars into the right accounts in the right order, and Ryan put his into the wrong place first. The order is the entire difference. This video walks through that order, step by step, with 2026's actual numbers and the math explaining why each step sits where it does. Before the steps, the principle that explains why sequence matters more than selection. Think of your money moving through a series of buckets arranged on a staircase. Each bucket represents a place your dollars can go. The rule is simple. Fill the bucket offering the highest guaranteed return first. When it is full, the overflow moves to the next bucket down. Guaranteed return beats probable return. Tax-free growth beats taxed growth. Money you can access beats money that is locked away. Those three principles decide everything that follows. The steps below are just those principles applied in order to the accounts that actually exist in 2026. Step 0. The starter buffer. Before any investing begins, build a small cash buffer of $1,000 to $2,000 in a separate account. This step comes first because everything else depends on it. Life produces unexpected expenses with reliable frequency: car repairs, medical bills, appliance failures. Without a cash buffer, these expenses go onto a credit card. And a credit card charging 22% interest immediately becomes the most expensive thing in your financial life, undoing progress faster than any investment can recover it. This buffer is not an investment, it is a firewall. Its job is not to grow, it is to keep you from stepping backwards every time something breaks. Park it in a high-yield savings account, which in 2026 pays meaningfully more than a standard bank account. And do not touch it unless something genuinely qualifies as an emergency. Ryan skipped this step. His first unexpected car repair went on a card at 21%. He spent 4 months paying it off. James absorbed the same size expense from his buffer and moved on without interruption. Step 1. Capture every dollar of your employer match. If your employer offers a retirement plan match, contributing enough to capture it entirely is the first investing move you make. Before debt payoff beyond the minimum, before any other account, before anything. The reason is simple arithmetic. A match of 50% on every dollar you contribute up to a certain threshold is an immediate 50% return before the market does anything. A full match of 100% is an immediate doubling. No investment in any account reliably produces those returns in the first year. This is the only place in personal finance where a guaranteed return exists the moment you make a contribution, and walking past it is walking past a raise your employer is offering. In 2026, a typical employer matches 50% of contributions up to 6% of salary, or 100% up to 5%. On an $80,000 salary, the difference between taking the full match and contributing zero is several $1,000s annually. Money your employer is prepared to give you that simply goes unclaimed when the contribution slider stays at the default. James checked his plan in his first week. He set his contribution to exactly the percentage required to capture the full match. Ryan's contribution slider sat at 0 for 2 years because he never looked at the enrollment form carefully. That 2-year gap alone accounts for a meaningful share of the eventual $35,000 difference between them. Note on vesting. Some employers require you to remain employed for a period before the match is fully yours. Know your vesting schedule. It does not change the instruction, capture the match, but it is worth understanding before making job decisions. Step 2. Eliminate high-interest debt. With the match secured, turn everything available toward any debt carrying an interest rate above approximately 7 to 8%. This step is investing. Paying off a balance charging 22% annual interest is a guaranteed, risk-free, tax-free 22% return. The stock market does not offer guaranteed returns. It does not offer risk-free returns. It certainly does not offer both simultaneously. Paying off high-interest debt clears a return that would be extraordinary even if it came with significant risk, and it comes with none. In 2026, average credit card rates are hovering around 21 to 22%. That benchmark makes any debt above roughly 8% a clear priority over additional investing. Credit cards, high-rate personal loans, and anything similar belong in this category. There are two approaches to the payoff itself. The avalanche method attacks the highest interest rate first and minimizes total interest paid over time, the mathematically optimal choice. The snowball method eliminates the smallest balance first, regardless of rate, producing early wins that build momentum. Neither is wrong. The avalanche saves more money. The snowball tends to keep people engaged when motivation is the constraint. Choose the approach you will actually finish. Step 3. Build the full emergency fund. With high-interest debt eliminated, build the emergency fund to its full size, 3 to 6 months of essential living expenses. The earlier buffer prevented catastrophe. This fund provides genuine stability, enough runway to absorb a job loss, a major health event, or any serious financial disruption without immediately creating new debt. 3 months is appropriate if your income is stable and your industry provides relatively easy reemployment. 6 months or more is appropriate if your income varies, you are self-employed, or your field makes finding new work difficult. The right amount is specific to your circumstances. In 2026, this money earns real returns. High-yield savings accounts, money market funds, and short-term treasury bills all pay rates in the high 3 to 4% range, meaningfully higher than the near-zero rates that made holding cash feel like a penalty just a few years ago. Your emergency fund is not idle money anymore. It is liquid, safe, and earning while it waits. Once this fund is in place, the foundation is complete. Everything from here is offense. Step 4. The HSA. If you have access to a qualifying high-deductible health plan, the HSA is the next bucket to fill. And it is the most tax-efficient account in the entire tax code. Most people treat it as a medical spending account. That is the least effective use of it. The HSA offers 3 simultaneous tax advantages that no other account provides. Contributions reduce your taxable income today. Growth inside the account is never taxed, and withdrawals for qualified medical expenses are tax-free at any point. Every other tax-advantaged account requires a choice between tax benefits now or later. The HSA provides both, plus a third. The optimal approach is to invest the HSA contributions into low-cost index funds, pay current medical expenses out of pocket, and keep receipts. Because there is no deadline on reimbursement, those receipts represent tax-free withdrawals available whenever you choose to claim them, even decades later. The HSA balance compounds untouched while you hold the receipts as a future withdrawal option. This effectively converts the account into a tax-free retirement account with a medical escape hatch. In 2026, the contribution limits are $4,400 for individuals and $8,750 for families, with an additional $1,000 available for those 55 and older. If you do not have a qualifying health plan, this bucket simply does not apply, and the water flows to the next step. Step 5. The Roth IRA.
The Roth IRA is the most consistently valuable retirement account available to most people below the income threshold, and 2026's limit of $7,500 annually is higher than it was last year. Money goes in after tax, it grows without tax, it comes out without tax. The contribution and every dollar of compounding growth belongs entirely to the account holder at retirement. No calculation required, no rate risk from future tax changes. You pay tax on the seed and keep the harvest entirely. 2 practical notes. First, the Roth phases out for single filers between approximately $153,000 and $168,000 in income, and for married filers between $242,000 and $252,000. Above those thresholds, the backdoor Roth, contributing to a traditional IRA and converting it, preserves access to the same tax-free growth. Second, the 5-year rule applies to earnings. The account generally needs to have been open at least 5 years and the holder at least 59.5 before earnings come out penalty-free. Contributions, the money you put in, are always accessible. Open the account early, even with a small initial amount, to start the clock. For most people early in their careers, in lower tax brackets, the Roth is typically the right choice. The traditional argument, take the deduction now, pay tax later, becomes more compelling when current tax rates are high and retirement rates are expected to be lower. Step 6. Return to the 401k and fill it. Having captured the match at Step 1, now return to the 401k and contribute beyond that initial amount up to the annual limit. The 2026 employee contribution limit is $24,500, up from $23,500 last year. The match does not count against this limit. Those 50 and older can contribute an additional $8,000. A specific provision in current law gives those between 60 and 63 a super catch-up of $11,250 instead, making the total potential contribution for that narrow age window close to $36,000 annually. Inside the account, choose the lowest cost index funds available. Many 401k plans offer options with expense ratios well above what comparable investments cost elsewhere. A 1% annual fee compounding against your balance for 40 years does substantial damage to the ending number. Find the fund closest to a broad market index with the lowest available cost and use it. Step 7. The taxable brokerage account. This is where Ryan started. It is the last bucket because it is the least tax efficient. Dividends and realized gains are taxed in the year they occur, with no deduction going in and no tax-free exit. Every Advantage account above it offers better terms, so it waits until they are full. But its great advantage is exactly what Ryan valued: no restrictions, no contribution limit, no age requirement to access funds without penalty, no government mandate about when you must withdraw. The taxable brokerage account is the bucket that buys freedom rather than retirement. The option to stop working at 45, to take a sabbatical, to leave a job that no longer serves you. Retirement accounts fund your later years. This one funds the years before that, if you build it. Hold investments for longer than a year, and gains are taxed at long-term capital gains rates, lower than ordinary income rates for most people, and 0 for lower earners. The account is not as punishing as its last place ranking implies. It simply belongs last because better options exist above it. James never picked a better stock than Ryan. He never timed the market. He contributed to the same type of index funds. The difference between their positions after 5 years traces entirely to sequence, the order in which the same dollars moved through the available accounts. Ryan put money in the exciting bucket at the bottom, while higher priority buckets sat empty above it. James filled from the top down: the buffer, the match, the debt, the emergency fund, the tax-advantaged accounts, and finally the taxable account with whatever remained. Most people will not reach step 6 or 7. That is completely fine. The 2 steps that matter most, Capturing the employer match and eliminating high-interest debt produce more financial improvement than everything below them combined. Fill the highest buckets first. Let the water find its own level from there. The order is the edge, not the picks, not the timing, not the paycheck. The sequence in which the dollars move. That sequence is what the $35,000 is made of. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Tell me what you think in the comments and like and subscribe to James Invest for more content like this.